In the quiet moments before the day begins, whether in the sprawling urban centers of Europe or the bustling hubs of the American continent, a leader often sits alone with a heavy realization. Every decision made, every word spoken, and every challenge faced in the past has acted as a silent architect, building the foundation for the leadership role they occupy today. It is a profound weight to carry, the understanding that a leader is not merely a title holder, but a living accumulation of their history. The path to excellence is not a sudden leap, but a steady climb, and for many, the climb feels steeper than they ever anticipated. They look at their teams, their organizations, or even their families, and they sense a gap between the potential they know exists and the reality that unfolds before their eyes. Leadership manifests in countless forms, some grand and some seemingly invisible. It is seen in the individual who manages a small group of volunteers under the dim lights of a community hall, or the parent who orchestrates the complex rhythms of a large household with tireless devotion. It is found in the visionary starting their first solo venture, where every responsibility rests on their shoulders, and in the high-powered executive steering a global corporation through turbulent economic waters. Regardless of the scale, the essence remains the same: the art of inspiring, organizing, and motivating others. The skills required to guide a family through a crisis are not so different from those needed to lead a boardroom through a merger. Yet, despite the universal nature of this role, many find themselves struggling, feeling as though they are missing a vital piece of the puzzle. There is a silent crisis of leadership echoing through every sector of modern life. One can see it in governments that falter and fail to find a steady focus, in businesses that buckle under the pressure of global competition, and in sports teams that cycle through coaches in a desperate search for consistency. Even in the most sacred spaces, like churches or the sanctuary of the family home, weak leadership often leaves behind a trail of discord and unfulfilled promises. The world is waiting for leaders who can do more than just occupy a seat. It is waiting for those who can transform their environment. The curiosity begins here. Why do some leaders seem to possess an almost magical ability to cultivate high-performance teams, while others remain trapped in a cycle of mediocrity and frustration? To become the kind of leader others admire and wish to follow, one must be willing to look into a mirror and examine the tools they have been using or neglecting. Many leaders possess a vast arsenal of skills, yet they leave their most powerful weapons gathering dust, focusing instead on their weaknesses or relying on outdated methods. The journey toward becoming a truly successful leader involves more than just learning new tricks. It requires a fundamental shift in mindset. It is about understanding how to cultivate followers, how to create future leaders, and how to define the legacy that will remain long after the leader has stepped away. As the dawn breaks, the leader realizes that the strength of their leadership will ultimately be defined by the strength of the people they choose to bring along with them. This realization serves as the first step into a deeper exploration of what it truly means to build a team of excellence.
The most common lament heard in the corridors of power, from Latin America to the far reaches of England, is a grievance about the quality of the team. Leaders often find themselves weary, their energy drained by a persistent lack of motivation among their staff, a refusal to adapt to change, or a general lack of initiative. It is a draining experience to stand at the helm of a ship where the crew seems indifferent to the destination. These leaders feel held back, as if they are dragging an anchor that prevents them from reaching the heights of success they once envisioned. However, a hard truth lies beneath these complaints, one that is often difficult to swallow. The leader is the one who chose the crew. The struggle they face is frequently not a failure of management, but a failure of selection. When a team fails to perform, the root of the problem can often be traced back to the very beginning, the recruitment process. Many leaders find themselves in a cycle of frustration because they have allowed individuals into their inner circle who lack the basic ingredients for success. They find themselves managing people who cannot master the technical skills required for their roles, or worse, individuals who lack the mental fortitude to persist when things get difficult. These are the employees who crumble at the first sign of trouble,
looking for someone else to blame for their errors rather than taking accountability. They are the ones who view change as an enemy rather than an opportunity, and who show no desire to grow, take on more responsibility, or climb the ladder of professional achievement. This lack of performance is rarely an accident. It is the natural consequence of a recruitment process that is treated as a chore rather than a critical strategic mission. In many organizations, leaders have become dangerously detached from the act of hiring. They outsource the most important decision they will ever make, who joins their team, to human resources departments or external agencies. They do this without ever clearly defining what the ideal candidate looks like or what the specific demands of the role truly are. They walk into interviews with candidates without having done their homework, sometimes seeing a resume for the first time as the person sits across from them. The result is a shallow, hurried interaction where the leader does most of the talking, asking random questions that fail to pierce the surface of the candidate's professional persona. This detachment creates a revolving door of disappointment. The leader hires someone based on a superficial impression, only to realize months later that the new recruit is a poor fit. The individual is eventually let go, and the process begins all over again. This cycle does more than just waste time and money. It erodes the morale of the entire team. Existing members lose faith in the leader's judgment, and the constant turnover creates an atmosphere of instability. Successful leaders understand that an inadequate hire cannot simply be fixed through training or coaching. While mentorship and guidance are vital, they cannot instill a fundamental work ethic or a positive attitude in someone who lacks them. The realization begins to dawn. A team can only ever be as good as the individuals who compose it, and the responsibility for that composition lies solely with the person at the top.
As the leader reflects on the failures of the past, they begin to see the recruitment process not as an administrative burden, but as the very heart of their success. In the high-stakes environments of Europe and beyond, the most effective leaders treat every hire as if they are selecting a partner for a life-or-death mission. They understand that talent is the currency of excellence, and to build an organization that thrives, one must be uncompromising in the search for the best. This transition from a passive recruiter to an active seeker of excellence requires a deep dive into the psychological and technical requirements of the role. It is no longer enough to simply fill a seat. The goal is to find a high performer who will elevate the entire group. One of the most significant shifts a leader can make is to become intimately involved in the definition of success for every position. This means moving beyond generic job descriptions and diving into the critical success factors, those specific traits and skills that will allow a person to thrive in that particular environment. Are they looking for resilience, creative problem solving, a specific type of technical mastery? These criteria must be communicated with absolute clarity to everyone involved in the search, from HR colleagues to external recruiters. When the leader knows exactly what they are looking for, the noise of the recruitment market begins to fade, leaving only the candidates who truly matter. This level of preparation ensures that the interview is not a shot in the dark, but a targeted exploration. Preparation for the interview itself becomes a ritual of excellence. A successful leader does not wing it. They craft a sequence of questions designed to test the candidate against those critical success factors. They move away from the what and where, which can be found on any resume, and focus on the how. This is where behavioral interviewing comes into play. By asking a candidate to describe a specific moment when they faced a sudden shift in direction, the leader learns more about their flexibility and composure than 1,000 hypothetical questions ever could. They look for the stories of mistakes, not to judge the failure itself, but to see the response. How did they react to a major error? What did they learn? This reveals the true character of the person behind the professional mask. Furthermore, the leader must be willing to probe into the candidate's capacity for creativity and grit. They ask for examples of when the individual had to find a new path through a difficult problem. In doing so, they are looking for evidence of a growth mindset, the desire to take on more, to learn, and to adapt. The leader understands that while technical skills can often be taught, the fundamental drive to succeed and the emotional intelligence to navigate complex human dynamics are much harder to cultivate. By investing this time and effort up front, the leader is not just hiring an employee, they are investing in the future stability and success of their entire organization. The depth of this exploration signals a turning point in the leader's journey, where they move from merely managing people to curating a culture of high performance.
The climax of the recruitment journey occurs within the four walls of the interview room, a space that can be found in any major city from Spain to the American continent. It is here that the leader must transform into a professional investigator, a seeker of truth, in an environment where candidates are often highly coached and rehearsed. Most job seekers arrive with a script, a collection of polished answers designed to present their best, most sanitized selves. To truly understand who is sitting across from them, the leader must be prepared to break that script. They must find ways to peel back the layers of preparation and see the authentic person underneath, because it is that authentic person who will be showing up to work every day. To do this, the leader employs a tactic of surprise. They ask the questions that the candidate didn't prepare for, the ones that require genuine reflection rather than the recitation of a memorized line. These unexpected inquiries are not meant to be gotcha moments, but rather windows into the candidate's true personality and values. When a candidate is forced to think on their feet, their real character often emerges, their sense of humor, their humility, their ability to handle pressure, or perhaps their tendency to become defensive. This is the moment of revelation. It is the moment when a leader can distinguish between someone who is merely good at interviewing and someone who is truly exceptional at their craft. This professional approach to interviewing is not reserved only for those outside the organization. A critical revelation for many successful leaders is the realization that internal candidates must be held to the same rigorous standard. Too often, a leader might allow someone to transfer into their department based on a casual recommendation or a sense of familiarity. However, the professional leader knows that this is a dangerous shortcut. They interview internal candidates with the same intensity and the same commitment to the critical success factors as they would an external applicant. This ensures that the high bar they have set for their team remains uncompromised, regardless of where the talent originates. As the interview concludes, the leader finds themselves with a level of clarity they never possessed in their earlier days. They are no longer making a choice based on a gut feeling or a rushed impression. Instead, they have a mountain of evidence regarding the candidate's behavior, their resilience, and their potential for growth. They have seen how the individual handles failure and how they approach complexity. This clarity is the turning point that redefines the trajectory of the entire team. By refusing to settle and by mastering the art of the interview, the leader has seized control of their team's destiny. The frustration of the past begins to evaporate, replaced by a sense of purpose and the knowledge that they are building something that can truly withstand the tests of time. In the aftermath of a successful professional recruitment process, the atmosphere of the workplace undergoes a subtle but powerful transformation. The leader no longer walks into the office feeling the weight of an unmotivated team. Instead, they are met by a group of individuals who are technically capable, emotionally resilient, and eager to grow. The silence of apathy is replaced by the hum of productive collaboration. The leader sees the fruits of their meticulous preparation in the way the team handles the inevitable crises that arise. When a project suddenly changes direction, these new hires don't panic or point fingers. They adapt, they problem solve, and they move forward. This is the direct result of the leader's decision to prioritize character and mindset during the interview stage. The resolution of the recruitment crisis brings with it a profound sense of relief and a new focus for the leader. They are no longer spending the majority of their time putting out fires caused by incompetence or mediating petty disputes fueled by a lack of accountability. Instead, they are free to engage in the higher level work of leadership, mentoring, strategizing, and envisioning the future. They find that the people they have hired are not just employees, but future leaders in their own right. These individuals take ownership of their tasks and look for ways to contribute beyond their basic job descriptions. The leader's role shifts from a supervisor of tasks to a curator of talent, a transition that is both liberating and rewarding. Furthermore, the entire organization begins to feel the ripple effects of these high-quality hires. High performance is contagious. When a team is composed of individuals who are committed to excellence, it raises the bar for everyone. Those who might have been coasting are suddenly inspired or challenged to step up their game. The culture of the home region or the corporate office becomes one of continuous improvement and mutual respect. The leader realizes that by taking the time to interview like a professional, they have done more than just fill a vacancy. They have strengthened the very fabric of their organization. The lesson is clear. the energy invested at the beginning of the relationship pays dividends for years to come. As the dust settles, the leader reflects on the internal and external transformations that have occurred. They have moved from a place of frustration and blame to a place of empowerment and clarity. They have learned that leadership is not about being the smartest person in the room, but about having the wisdom to fill the room with the smartest, most capable people available. This settlement of the narrative arc brings a quiet confidence. The leader knows that they have built a foundation that is not only strong, but also flexible enough to handle whatever the future might hold. They have mastered one of the most difficult skills in the leader's arsenal, and in doing so, they have paved the way for a legacy of success that will endure.
In the final analysis, the journey of a leader is a testament to the power of intentionality. The shift from a frustrated manager to a professional curator of talent is more than just a change in technique. It is a profound commitment to the pursuit of excellence. It is a recognition that the people we surround ourselves with are the most accurate reflection of our own leadership. When a leader takes the time to master the art of the interview, they are sending a message to themselves and to the world that their vision is too important to be left to chance, and that their mission deserves nothing less than the very best effort. This philosophy of leadership extends far beyond the boardroom or the office. It is a way of being in the world. It is the understanding that whether one is leading a multinational corporation, a local charity, or a family, the quality of the outcomes will always be dictated by the quality of the participants. By being clear about what success looks like and being rigorous in the search for those who can achieve it, a leader creates a sanctuary of competence and a culture of trust. They build environments where people feel safe to make mistakes because they know how to learn from them, and where change is embraced as a catalyst for growth. This is the true meaning of high-performance leadership. The legacy of such a leader is not found in the titles they held or the wealth they accumulated, but in the people they developed and the standards they upheld. They leave behind organizations that are self-sustaining, filled with individuals who possess the same grit, creativity, and accountability that were sought out in those initial rigorous interviews. By investing in the human element with such meticulous care, the leader ensures that their influence will continue to ripple through the world long after they have moved on. They have taught those around them not just how to work, but how to strive, how to adapt, and how to lead. As the narrative closes, the image of the leader is one of quiet contemplation and satisfaction. They have transitioned from the chaos of a poorly managed team to the harmony of a professional organization. They have learned that while leadership is a lifelong journey of self-preparation, its most visible fruit is the success of others. The lesson for anyone in a position of influence is simple yet profound. Do not leave the most important decisions to others. Take the lead in selecting your team, prepare with intensity, and look for the character that lies beneath the surface. In doing so, you will not only transform your team, but you will also become the leader you were always meant to be, leaving a mark of excellence on everything you touch.